Hey there writers, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Emma and I am a romance writer based in the UK. I'm a little bit distracted by the fact that my shelves seem to be wonky because the camera is definitely straight, and I felt that the shelves have always been straight and yet they appear wonky, but we're going to ignore it. We're going to move on anyway. So today I was just wanting to have a little bit of a whinge, but also share with you guys, let you know that you're not alone if you are also feeling this way at the moment, just about feeling a bit overwhelmed with everything that is going on and that I need to do. My video last week was about how I was going to be dealing with my developmental edits, which had arrived from my editor, and I was quite positive about this, but all I can say is that that was a younger Emma, an Emma who hadn't been through what I have now been through. It has been quite the week. It's actually been like a bit of a couple of months, to be honest, and everything is just kind of feeling like it's going wrong and it's all kind of piling on top. And what do we do when we feel like this, or at least what do I do? So I think sometimes we get to a certain point before we realize that we are feeling overwhelmed and that everything's getting a bit too much. So that happened to me a few days ago. I just realized that I was in a really just bad mood and my mind was going crazy trying to remember all of the different things that I needed to do, getting frustrated about the silliest of things, and then also not wanting to do fun stuff because I didn't have time. And that is definitely not how I want to live my life. Thank you very much. So what I tend to do is I take a step back and try to look at the big picture of everything that is going on and what there is that I can do to make things better for myself. So there are some things in life that we have very, very little control over, and to a certain extent we just need to accept those and do the best that we can with them. But huge amounts of things that are going on in our lives we do have some control over, at least maybe not completely, but to a certain extent. So looking at just everything going on. So the big problem for me with work is that I am writing my Christmas book for next year, and I am loving writing that. And I'm writing 1,000 words a day. Great, love it. But I'm also working on the edits for the first book in that series. And I do not work well on two projects at the same time, or at least two projects that are so similar in that they are both contemporary romances. I just find that really, really difficult. The best way that I found to do it is just to deal with one part of the day, have quite a break to clear my mind, do other things, and then work on the other book. But that really hasn't been easy. So the first thing I tried to do was work out, okay, how do I need to deal with this? Do I need to put the Christmas book on hold for a week, say, while I deal with the edit so that I can properly focus? I haven't definitely decided to do that because I do feel like I had a bit of a talking to myself, because part of it was that I was faffing around. I wasn't as focused as I could have been when I was writing. So I kind of sorted myself out a bit there, and it meant that the actual writing of the 1,000 words every day got a lot faster. So that has helped. But I do have that option that I can do if things kind of go downhill a little bit and it's getting a bit too close to that deadline that I have to return my edits. So yeah, that was kind of writing stuff. Then obviously as writers we need to do all the social media things and stuff like that. I don't know, I kind of go through stages of being quite happy to do things like that, but also really struggling with it, particularly if it's taking photos of myself or videoing myself. That's especially the case, funnily enough, if I'm deep in the middle of a writing project. I don't know if anybody else feels like this, but when I'm writing, it is by no means glamorous. I'm generally on the sofa with a laptop, hoodie on, often with the hood up if I'm really concentrating, blanket round me, maybe a cup of tea. Like, you don't need your picture taken at times like this. So if you are going to take a picture of yourself, you kind of need to put yourself together, put some makeup on and things like that, if you want to kind of feel good about yourself. So it's just putting that bit of extra effort in on those days when that is not what you're thinking about. So the way that I try to deal with that is that when there are days when I am like dressed in nicer clothes and I've got some makeup on and stuff like that, I will bear in mind that I'm looking a bit better, and I will try to make sure that I film something or take some pictures on those days, so that on the days when I don't feel like doing that, I don't need to. So yeah, there was that section as well, kind of trying to make sure that I kept on top of that, as well as the work that was my priority. I also had an editing job that I was doing. Again, I was enjoying that, but it's a lot of different things to juggle. So I was pleased when that was put aside. So those are kind of the sensible things that I was worrying about. And then, and I'm sure I'm not the only person that does this, and I suspect it's more of a woman thing, I tend to stress about the little things. So for example, I was really enjoying an audiobook. It was Julia Child's autobiography, but I only had a few days until I needed to return it. So that becomes the back of my head, that I need to do that. I need to listen to that. I need to listen to that. Yeah, make sure that you listen to that. Oh, you've still got 3 hours or whatever, and you've only got however many days to do it. So you've just got that competing with all the other more important stuff going on in your head, which doesn't help. Then I don't deal well with mess and stuff around me, especially if I'm trying to work and we are having renovations done in bathroom upstairs. And yeah, I'm not even looking at it, honestly. I'm just keeping the door closed so that I'm not needing to look at what is going on in there. That's my way of dealing with that. We all have our different ways of dealing with it. I cannot do anything about that. We had a leak, it needs dealing with, and it's turned into a bigger job. That's one of those things that I don't have a lot of control over. The only thing that I do have control over is that, if something needs to be ordered to do that job, I can make sure that it gets ordered and check that it gets here on time. That kind of thing. I can make cups of tea. I'm good at making cups of tea. But, we really cannot control everything. So that's one that I kind of, had to step back from. It's also just a very busy period at the moment in terms of needing to go and out and do a lot of stuff. Again, there's nothing that I can do about that. It needs to be done. We've had several days when I've needed to be out and about for the day, and so I'm not able to get those developmental edits done on that day. What I have managed to do though is writing the 1,000 words when we get back, so I have been really pleased that I've managed to do that. About the only thing that I have been able to do to ease things is just when I did sit down and did this kind of inventory of all the things that were just kind of going and driving me a bit mad, was try to get rid of a few of them, or come up with step-by-step plans of how I could get rid of some of them. And that's even silly things like my YouTube watch later list had got too long, and that was stressing me out. And it was stressing me out because I do really like to support other author tubers. I like to watch their videos and follow their journey, see what they're up to and stuff like that. And I don't like when I've got 120 videos lined up to watch. So that's not important. That is not life or death situation, or it's not really important for work or anything like that, but it makes me feel bad. I don't like it. So it's like, okay, I'm going to watch this many videos every day while I'm cooking or whatever like that. I also took on a craft project as kind of something that I was doing, even if it's just for 15 minutes a day. That isn't anything for work or anything to do with the house or for anybody else. It's kind of just quiet time for me. It's not even reading, which, you know, as writers, reading is a little bit work related. We rarely read something without analysing it just a little bit. So yeah, that helped. Anyway, there we go. So just to say that we all have times when everything is a bit bonkers and it is not possible for us to make more hours in the day, as lovely as that might be. So we kind of have to just work out what we can do to make things better. Not absolutely sorted, because that's not going to be possible, but how can we improve things for ourselves so that we can just get through this season until things calm down again. Okay, right. Well, that is enough jabbering from me. I've got a lot to get on with. I've done my editing for the day, or most of it, but I'm going to get on to writing those 1,000 words now. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you are going through a similarly crazy time at the moment, please let me know down in the comments below so that I know it is not just me. Subscribe if you're not already, because we have a lot of fun on this channel, and I will catch you in the next one.